Shalom, family. Glory be to God and blessed be the Lamb. I really don't know what I'm going to talk about tonight. At one point, I was going to talk about liberal females, particularly white women, who find it necessary to march and protest and take up the flags and causes of others. But after I thought about that a minute, it would be inappropriate. So I guess that we're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about something else. However, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But then I don't have to understand. At the end of the day, I don't have to understand anything. No matter how you would want me to or how much I would want to, at the end of the day, I don't have to understand anything. I just don't. I'm not trying to be mean or to be flippant. But still, at the end of the day, I don't have to understand anything for a lot of different reasons. A lot of different reasons. Some I already spoke of and some never spoke of. I was sitting here thinking, though, what am I? I have to be the only human being on the planet who have asked themselves that, outside of the early ones of where did I come from, idiot. They left a big ass book to tell you where you came from. You're still asking where you came from. Anyway, Neanderthals. The truth is right before them and they insist that it's something else. But what am I? On the fundamental, a really basic level beyond consciousness, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I said from the beginning of this run, I has been, as long as there has been darkness, or the darkness has existed as long as I have. I was a consciousness, aware of my own consciousness, which is special, very special, more than you think. And I existed in total blackness, for God knows, and only God knows how long. But quite aware, never lonely, never sad. It's a part of the blackness. And besides, the blackness is curious, more curious than you would think. There's black and then there's black, and then there's further black. There's doorways in the blackness, things that you wouldn't understand. However, at one point I acted as a guardian within that blackness. But there should have been nothing there but me. Anything else outside of something that could not stop me was instantly destroyed, turned into pixie dust, floating in curious greens and yellows and light blues as they altered and descended. There was never any questions asked. You see them, you kill them. Real simple. Life was much easier then. And then one day, something appeared in the blackness that wasn't blackness like I was used to seeing. In the reality of it, it was blackness meet blackness. Blackness meet blackness. I look back on it and they could never see me coming. All they could see is empty space. Empty space. However, they got smart later on. They couldn't see me. Not like that. But in some kind of way, they knew where I was. And shit got a little intense. But we all past that now. I was dragged out of the blackness. I do mean dragged. I didn't ask to be dragged out of it. I mean, God wouldn't like me saying, using the term drag. No, I was summoned. But Lord, when you say something like summoned, then I have no choice but to come. Sounds like drag to me. Okay, but at any rate, but but at any rate, as I sit there, something different appeared in the blackness, and it wasn't black. In fact, it was what it was something I had never seen before. It was light. It was light. This beautiful 8 foot or 7 foot tall orb, oval shaped slightly, and there it was. And I marveled at it. I didn't know where it came from. It broke the perimeters, it broke the rules, it broke the boundaries of engagement, and I had no answer for it. I'm used to shooting that shit black. This, on the other hand, and as brilliant as the light was, it wasn't blinding, and it is brilliant. Brilliant is the word to describe it. Purplish and blue. A purplish blue, put it that way, or a bluish purple, however one wants to look at it. But there it was, and I just marveled at it. More than a curiosity, the best word I can use is marveled. I marveled at it. Just looked in the distance. Not like you would think at a distance, but in the distance still. And then as I'm watching that, I looked to the right of me. I still don't know why. Everything was controlled. I was meant to look at that very moment. It made me question my own autonomy, my own free will, when I realized how much I was being controlled at that level. That understanding would come years later, and it scared me just a little bit. And it made me question my own autonomy. It made me question my own free will. At any rate, there I was, and I looked to the right, and there was a bundle of them. A bundle of them. I wasn't sure how many, because light, what would become light later, to me, I had no name for it. It was just what it was, an entity. That much I knew. But then there's a bundle of them. I couldn't really see how many, 4 or 5. It was one of those numbers, though. But light blends into light, especially when it is close to other light. At least so it would seem to the conscious eye. That's how I seen it. And then that group of orbs or light figures started to close the gap between them and the other orb of light. So now my mind is in a different place. It looks to me now as one orb is running while these are chasing. So I had to make a decision. I'm going to do the right thing here. I know nothing about these people's business. But they're in my realm. I'm trying to mind my business, but here they are. And to me, it looks like that they were trying to overtake and harm the other light. So I geared up. We have weapons there. Weapons. We have those same weapons here. Just they react differently because of all of the space that you have built objects in, including yourselves, cars, houses, buildings. They still work. But anyway, The weapon of choice given to me was to absorb all light, every speck of it. And it don't matter how small, if it's just a twinkle, absorb all light and to concentrate it into one spot and compress it, and it becomes a weapon. Trust me, it burns everything it touches, living or dead, or in space or out of space. However, it didn't work. It didn't work. And I was alarmed. I was alarmed because the weapon is me. And I understood that. So why am I not working? Okay? And while that's going on, me trying to figure this shit out, I see the other orbs start to, they're very close to the other orb at this point, and they start to blend. I can't tell one from the other anymore. As I'm taking all of this in, and for the first time in my existence, feeling something I had never felt, helpless. I couldn't have named it that then, but it was strange. I am master of my domain in this blackness, and nothing survives it, nothing trespasses it, not without instant death. As simple as that. Not just death and death that's on a level you would know it. No, it's death on a level as they never existed. Nothing leaves there. Not even a memory. Not even a fucking whisper. Nothing leaves there. I'm trying to make you understand the deepness of this shit. Nothing leaves there. But here I am, helpless. And just when I thought that it couldn't get any any worse, I felt myself moving. Something that I had never done. No, I kind of just sit there, aware of the blackness around me and ready to deal with anything that comes in the blackness. I don't even know why. I mean, it was just a design. And there were never variables like friend or foe. No, I'm built to do what I do up there, which is destroy anything that comes within my purview that's not me. Plain and simple. No thinking required. None. No understanding required. Just do your freaking job. Not quite like that, because there's no way I couldn't do it, because it's the design. You're designed to do what you are designed to do. There's no way out of it. You know nothing else ever existed outside of the design. You get it? Nothing else ever existed outside of the design as far as you would do what you call think, but I ain't even thinking. It's, man, listen here. At any rate, I felt helpless, and now I'm moving. And I'm trying to resist moving, and I can't. Not only am I moving, but I'm being moved into this mess of orbs that seems to be fighting. I don't know what they're doing over here. It's none of my business. I simply want to get back to the blackness that you're trying to pull me out of. I have nothing to do with this. I mean, what the fuck's going on here? And then, as I got closer, I lit up. I lit the fuck up. Now there's more confusion. I am totally, like you would feel, confused. None of this is an, man, I learned that I was absolutely nothing. Later I would term it that. No, you are absolutely nothing. a thought in God's imagination, a thought that became a consciousness, given an awareness of one's own consciousness. And again, I can't stress how special that one is. At that, what I would think of as basic level of development here. This is basic level development of a consciousness into something else. You just sort of exist. You never ask where you came from. You never ask where you are. You're never afraid. You're never lonely. You're never tired. You just exist for God knows how long. His imagination is deep and vast. It made me feel the nothingness. Damn. The nothingness. And then I was sucked in, pulled into this bundle of light. Later, as the initiation would go, now I mean, what happens above happens below, okay? What happens above happens below. As I was being put together there like a freaking puzzle, things were happening on the planet to prepare it for my arrival. A lot of things. That understanding, too, would come later. Later. Everything from start to finish, on my part, but for 3 years, has been a resistance, a thing of resistance. I say that because first it was, and I'm honest with myself. I'm honest with you too, but I am brutally honest with myself. Brutally. I have to justify everything I say. I must justify everything I do. And that requires brutal honesty. I can never lie. I can never hide from you. Well, I can. I actually can. It would scare you, but it would scare Mother Nature too. She doesn't like it when I do it. Shit kind of goes haywire. And when it goes haywire, I give up the joke and let her know, hey, I'm right here, boo-boo. Ain't went nowhere. Bastards ain't got me yet. You can calm down. But that was the developmental stages. I will learn later as time went on in the physical plane who I was. Up there, it never came to, it was, again, words like human words simply don't and can't explain what I'm trying to say. There is no who. Just as in now, there is no me. You will never hear me say I or me, because it doesn't exist. To say I or me would lend dominance over the other six, and the other six are me too. You get what I'm trying to say? Because, and if you don't, I mean, it is because of the conditioning. We exist as one, but we are uniquely different. I'm sure that you witnessed it, at least 3 of them. At least 3. I mean, you would call me split personality and probably crazy if I didn't have the power that comes with it. You would. Yeah, this is definitely split personality disorder. No, it's not. No, there is one. Okay, there's just one. And for some strange reasons, the other 6 insist on being themselves. And they are one in their own essence also. And combined, we are 7 and we are one. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around. It was for me too. It was for me too. But it's even harder for you. You're looking from the outside in. I was busy becoming it and being manifested here on this planet. There's two different perspectives. I often say, shit, I resisted coming here. Trust me, I did. And when I first got here, I had my plan was simple. It was a question of how we're gonna do what we have to do. I didn't even consider saving anyone. No, I came here with a strictly militaristic, ready to do battle, angelic style, and teach both the devil and man a very valuable lesson, and it's going to be the very last one that they ever learn. That they ever learn. But then I was off base. I was coming with ideas, strategies in terms of actual physical destruction. Someone had to pull my coattail, okay, and remind me of the rest of the order. I seem to have been caught up. I was thinking in stages of rank and file militaries here, rank and file armies, okay? I guess it was the last thing that I remember about the last battle or something. I don't know. But that's how I came with that mentality. So you'd hear me, or maybe hear me, say things like, so how will we defeat them? Okay. And then you hear some odd response like, will we be driving up the middle, separating the leaders from the fighters, separating the shot callers from the grunts? Yeah, the grunts cannot hear the orders, then they are forced to stand on their own 2 feet and face something that they can't possibly face. Will we be doing it that way? Or I would think to myself in terms like this. Well, maybe, no, that was going to cost an overwhelming amount of fucking bloodshed. So what if this is how I'm thinking in rank and file armies on the geopolitical stage, okay, when I first got here. We should push them together. Like, see, I'm thinking in terms of rank and file army, but my brain is going to transfer this ancient thinking into today's military delivery. Second plan, push them into each other, where they can only use their short blades. They can't, because they can't use their sword because they're too close to each other, forcing them into a new level of fighting, damn near hand-to-hand combat, which they're not comfortable with. Thinking like those levels. And if you just want to, man, listen, how we think is ugly and fucking dangerous. I mean, shit, man. I want you to know, but I don't want you to hate me either. You already hate me, so fuck it. No, I don't feel that way. Listen, you dealing with shit like this here. Someone that comes to me and say something went down and they want to do something about it. I don't want them to do anything about it. It's unnecessary to really do anything about it. And they're looking at me, well, that's outside of fucking protocol. They violated, shit happens. But here's what I seen. And this is, you know, why would I, man, listen. Even Buddha moaned like, please don't say it. Please don't say it. Listen, I said that no, we should leave them alone. because they will hurt many of our enemies. And that's all you need to know. By the very, by the very fact that they're alive, they will harm our enemies just by being them. And in that way, we get 2, 3 dozen for the price of one. See, this is ugly ass thinking. Ugly thinking. I have mapped your whole topography in my brain. Mapped it. All your bayou systems, all your drain systems, all your electrical systems, where the junction boxes are and the major areas, which way the phone line, the electrical lines are running and how far. I've done all that shit, man. All that. This from a being that can put his hand on your so-called electrical money taker. What they call it, the reader cycle thing, where the numbers flash up. I put my hand on that and everything resets back to zero instantly. Instantly, I can show you this trick in the morning. It's going to fuck with your light bill, though. But everything resets back to zero. But it's theft. It's theft. But I can show you that. That's easy to show you. Things are different. This is a reserved, not reserved in the way you think I'll steal to get angry, enraged. No, it's like being in a sort of a capsule, knowing that the real shit is on the outside of the capsule. Okay. But not quite. I'm trying to come up with analogies. See, something in the human language don't really lend it much understanding. But I arrived here. Upon my arrival, creepy shit started happening. A lot of creepy shit. Some naturally creepy, and there is naturally creepy shit. And some unnaturally creepy. This is part of the process of me being woke up. And it's brutal. Nothing is told to you. Nothing is explained. Everything comes fast and demands acceptance and understanding. And when you don't, or you can't, then you will. If you don't or can't, then you will. They're going to put you through the process until you fucking get it. You can scream stop as many times as you want. They're only going to hit you harder. I promise you. There is no stop. Even if they feign pity, it's just I don't even know why they do it, but they'll say we can't. And they mean it just like that. We can't stop. I guess they would say, as I would say, it's the design, sir. We can't stop until certain things happen. You have to wake up. And I'm like, I'm already awake. That is not what they mean. No, that dwells within. It's like priming a baby taking his first breath. We gotta hit you. It's in there. We know he's in there. Hit him again. And it's just like that. Until eventually, you would think that I reached a certain plateau. No. It was more subtle than that. The awakening, the opening of the eyes was very subtle. And I remembered the last thing I heard as I came into consciousness. The lion and they were frustrated when they said this. They didn't beat me with everything but the goddamn kitchen sink. The lion has been asleep too long. He has to wake up. That was the very last thing that I heard before my spiritual eyes opened. And just when they were about to hit my ass again, I said, don't hit me. And they didn't. Of all them other times I said, please stop. Don't. They never respected that shit. But when the others' eyes opened, they knew. They knew on instinct. That was not a pleading. That was not a lamentation. That was a command. Don't hit me. And it stopped instantly. Instantly. And it changed everything. But I wasn't done fighting. I wasn't done fighting not to be here. Believe that shit. No, we just went to a whole nother level with it until God himself almost came personally. He was tired of my shit. Tired of the resistance. He said what he said, and he understood what I was saying, but he said what he said. And he tried to be very patient. Very patient. I think he lost patience at the point that I said that when I found out that he doesn't have a replacement for me, from a military standpoint and me being a warrior, that's just outright bad planning. And why are we structured? I mean, I'm just tripping. Oh, man. And God got what had to have been frustrated with me because, again, you don't have a replacement. So, follow me here. I'm in a flesh and bone body that's acceptable to all kinds of sicknesses and viruses and bacteria. It's acceptable to aging. It's acceptable to getting wounded in just a normal fist fight. The older it gets, the longer it takes to heal. And it's also susceptible to death. And we don't have a replacement. I think that my earnestness about that had pushed God just a little. And he let me know. He said what he said. We got this. You trying to overthink here. But anyway, I'm here now. And apparently, you're here with me. None of us set this shit up. Again, I came to kill you. That's how I showed up. It's only through the angels rearranging my thinking and the scripture as it is written that is not so. God's word is his command. It can't be violated by us. You get it? It cannot be violated by an angel or any other creation but you and the devil. We can't do it. Can you imagine me rising up against God? Try as hard as you can to freaking imagine that. I bet you can't do it. You can't do it. How would it even begin? What would it look like? Oh shit. I'd be standing next to Satan and Satan is like, you see there? He does overreact, doesn't he? Yeah, bro. He overreacted. Shit. Is that what we're calling it now? God uh, the Father overreacted. The Creator overreacted. Fine. If that's how you got it rolling here, I'm just here with you now, man. And try not to do nothing special. Please remember who I am, and I'll remember who the fuck you are. Let's not cross no swords here. I'm still me, whether I'm on fire or not. But anyway, when I awakened, imagine this part of the story, not knowing what that really means. You open your eyes and everything doesn't look like it did when you walked into the fucking building. Think of the initiation as the building. You went in and the world looked one way. You walk out and it's not the same. It's the same world, but your eyes are open now and the scales have been removed. It would be the equivalent of Adam once he was removed from the garden. And he set eyes on the very angels he has seen every day, all the time, with a different reaction. But once he was outside of the garden and he seen angels, it made him faint. The very same angels that guarded the gates of the garden, and the ones he could see in the sky, now horrified him. Both him and Eve would fall to the ground as if they were dead. That means they fainted. They passed out from the terror to the point where the angels had felt sorry for them and went to God and said, hey, you don't have to fix this. They keep falling down as if dead. And then Adam went to him and said, hey, man, there's something else out here with us. And then God had explained it to him and told him what it was, and he gonna fix his eyes, and then he couldn't see them anymore. Well, this would be the reverse. This would be the reverse. Yeah. First, I couldn't see them, and now I do see them. And not only do I see them, I see the world in a whole different reality. I don't even think it's the same reality that you're in. I think it's a reality that only I can occupy, that only I can perceive. Really, you perceive of me what you do, but understand what I'm trying to say here. Understand what I'm trying to say. So, at any rate, let's move off that as a subject here. Everything around you is planned out. Even you being here alive at this moment in time is not an accident. It's not a coincidence. It's not randomness at all. At all. You are precisely where you should be at this very moment in time. And tomorrow it'll be the same way. No matter how I see it, and I see it as weird, you don't see it at all. See? You don't see it at all. You think that every day just feeds until the next day. You recycle and you do it again until the weekend. Whatever the weekend starts, Friday or Saturday, there's a different vibe or sound and feel from Friday until Sunday night. Period. So that would tell me that there's some kind of built-in body clock that activates on Friday, and it is. It could even activate early, like on a Wednesday, hump day, and you can't wait until get to Friday. It's all vibration and frequency, actually, but it is felt. It is felt more than you would think, because it just happenstance at all. The TV, anything with the screen. Think about it this way. How many souls do you think have lived and died upon this planet since the creation of man? A couple of billion? 6 billion? Now keep in mind, Today's numbers are somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 dead, 346 dead every second on this planet. Put that into perspective, if you can. That's a that's not a that's not evidence of death being active. That is evidence of how many people are being generated, living and dying upon the planet at the same time. Don't blame death. They just do what they do. He's the most unfeeling guy that I've ever seen. He simply, he good. He good. I'm just saying. Nobody really likes him. Everywhere he, I'm not going to make a joke about the angel. About the angel. I try to get him to smile. Tell him it would help him get some friends. He's as much hated as I am. And with the devil, that's at a close second, at any rate. So I awake. Now, imagine not knowing what that means. Because everything is taught to you brutally. You is sink or swim. Okay? You throw. Imagine every time I walk outside, no matter what kind of day it is, the wind start blowing. Every time that there's so much as a cloud anywhere near you, it starts fucking raining. Every time you have a hearing date or a important fucking appointment, there's a goddamn thunderstorm. Now imagine you being me and not understanding this here. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, shit, because I'm still carrying the residual of the physical self. Okay, so in a way, I was still thinking in terms of physical self, and it came across like I could not have done anything this wrong on this planet to make you focus on me like this, Father. It's like you follow me around and you just letting me know that motherfucker, I'm right behind you. And I mean, I've had lightning strike so close to me that the air around me was charged. Charged. I could hear the shit like snap, crackle, pop. That kind of snarl. You know that cereal? Rice Krispies? It sounded like that shit. Okay? It's scaring the shit out of me. And I'm wondering, what have I done to make you want to kill me personally? It's 6 billion people on this goddamn planet. We went through everything from mass shooters to cannibals to people who done wiped out whole motherfucking nations. Thousands of people dead. And they didn't go through this. Here, you just walking around and just, like, dude, I'm right behind you. And you know what? I'm almost about to do something to you. And this is how I felt for weeks on end. Because no one would tell me otherwise. I came into that knowing and understanding and that connection all by myself, like everything else is. And I sometimes think about it, and it drives me a little hot because we could have been much further if you'd have just hit me with the wide receiver the first time. And I done got it and did it anyway. But that's not how God operates. That's not how he operates. Trust me, he can be brutal. There was no books. You just kind of become it. And your understanding and grasp of things change over time. And as you change, the shit around you also changes. And there's a lot of shit around you that you don't really see. It's like I said, the space between me and the wall is as important as me seeing the wall. Remove the space and there's no wall. You get what I'm kind of saying? Remove the space that your eye uses. Listen to me. The space between your eyeball and the image you're looking at. If you remove that space, does the image exist? The short answer is no. It doesn't exist. Because the space is the generator. You see what I'm saying? Without the space, it's nothing. It'll be like right here or nothing. And it's not going to be right there because there's no space to travel from there to here. It gets deep. It gets deep, but it is. And I come to certain conclusions about some things. Some shit you don't have to understand. It just is. I tell, if you cannot start from the concept or understand or accept the concept that nothing is everything, then you can learn nothing. You can learn nothing. You can't be taught anything, and no one can get you there in a physical level or by being taught that would make you understand that nothing is everything. Nothing is the building block of everything. It is a foundation that you just have to grasp and accept before you can have any other further learning. Any other further learning. You must grasp that precept first. So, what are you? Earlier, I talked about the billion souls dead in 5,000 years, 4,000 years, wherever you want to start at. It's going to still be billions dead. Billions lived, billions died upon this planet. Each of them carrying a soul, a spirit, if you will. There is some pseudoscientific understanding and disagreement as to what is the spirit and what is the soul. Are they the same? I'm not getting into that. But these souls which were in a different realm crashed on top of you. Okay? They so crashed on top of you that their realm is pretty much empty. They all came here. Okay? Now, I said that to kind of set the foundation for what I'm about to say next, or ask. Where'd they go? Where did they go? There's only so many living bodies. There's more living, physically living with heartbeats and brain patterns and walking around. And I mean, there are far less living than there are that have died. Are you following me? There are less living than there are all those as a solid number, as a calculation, as a number that have died. In fact, the only way you could term it as a super minority. So, Satan wants to control. I'm going back to what are you? What are you? You're somewhere in between angel and man. Somewhere in between angel and man. You're a project in evolution, but something interrupted. At any rate, let's talk about the billions and billions and billions of souls. They affect you. and there's not enough bodies for them to occupy. There's not enough bodies if you add in all of the warm-blooded mammals. They still don't have enough bodies. So where are they? Ladies and gentlemen, as as a presupposition, theoretical in nature, what if I said that they existed inside your TV set, inside of a device, inside of the frequencies, inside of these? This is why every time I walk into a room, one of them feels me, or they see me, and they immediately say, Jesus Christ. Immediately. We are in the same realm. You're not. You are not. And this is why I say, and I'm going to wrap this up right here. And this is why I said I was thinking earlier that we're in different realms. I occupy a different realm that's also smashed on top of yours, with the other one that's smashed on top of yours, and shit went all fucking haywire. We came to deal with them, not those souls that have passed per se. No, evil has a consciousness. Okay? Evil acts don't have a consciousness. Evil has a consciousness. Okay? Wickedness has a consciousness. And the generator of this consciousness would be the devil, and the influences underneath the generator would be the demons, and the actors would be what we deal with physically every day. Mankind has called them everything from spirits to ghosts. They've had, mankind is a scary bastard. You know how it was in the Dark Ages? I mean, if you blow out a fucking candle, all hell broke loose. They did not go out on the streets after dark for shit. They were terrified of the dark. Terrified. And all they had was torches and fucking candlelight. They stayed out of the dark. Every night was a living nightmare. They never knew what they was going to wake up and find the next morning. It was that bad. It's the kind of environment Jack the Ripper was born in. And they would like to make that seem like he was a special a character. No, they were killing each other all over the place, and they were killing the ladies all over the place, if you want to call them ladies. If you were a fucking streetwalker hanging out in the nearest pub, applying your trade, then don't be surprised if you met Jack, and they hardly ever solved any of these cases. Ever. Which while I was studying it, I started going down other roads. But that was a long time ago. Ain't my business. But she started turning circles. Okay? Around the same time that I could perceive that there was something going on with the devices. Now keep in mind, I haven't watched their TV, honestly watched their TV in well over 17 years. I don't do it. I simply just turned it off one day. In fact, it was this day. I was laying in the bed, watching TV, and I used to watch animated shows like, I can't never think of their name, but Hank Hill, Bart Simpson, The Simpsons, Family Guy, All American Dad, shit like that. So one day, as I'm watching that shit, as I'm watching it, and I'm watching the people around me. Now, I'm in my upstairs bedroom by myself, but I can hear what's going on around me. Outside, because I got the window open and shit. It's a nice, crisp fall afternoon, and the people at the house and shit. And while I'm laying there, I had a fucking epiphany. It fucked me up. It fucked me up. I said to myself, as I'm watching one of these adult animated series, shows, I could see no difference between the characters on TV and the characters not only in my life, but around me. It was all the same thing. All they were missing in the physical world was the bright colors. That's it. Everything, every scenario that would happen in the cartoons was fully capable of happening in the non-cartoon world. And then I had started to notice the clocks. The clocks in the background tell a story, which I won't be going into here. That if you watch movies, there's a clock that have clocks in the background. Look at the time on the clocks. I connected the dots for you. Okay? In most cases, it's always the same time throughout the movies from like the 60s or 70s up to 2000. Okay? It's always the same fucking time. Right around that same time, it sent me down another path. And I had to put my brainiac hat on. It's all in waking up because I'm trying to understand everything. I have to understand everything. I've read everything. Trust me, man. You have no idea. I'll sit up and read the back of a... Anyway, I had to know everything. Everything. Okay? Or as much as I could in a very short amount of time. And when the process was over, there's no going back. There's no going back to where I came from. There's no going back to where I was yesterday. It doesn't operate that way. Yesterday may as well not have even happened in this realm. Because in this realm, time doesn't exist like it does in your realm. It's different. It's different. I only feel the sense of urgency when I'm fully engaged in your realm. When I'm not, everything just is. It just is. And with that, I hope you can glean something from what I said tonight, because I want your understanding. You don't have a choice, and neither do I, no matter what you do. I am Source. I am Seven. I am One.